Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning again. We will continue our morning technical presentation, but we will start now with the panel discussion. The panel discussion topic is AI, automation, and human intelligence, reading the future of predictive maintenance. This technical panel discussion will be moderated by Ahmed Mu'taz, a chemical engineer from Quant Gulf. Please. From UAE system. Oh, it's open. Okay. Please welcome with me Ahmed Mu'taz, the moderator.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everyone. So today's panel topic is the AI automation and the human intelligence in predictive maintenance. We will dive deeply in this topic today with our guests and panelists. So let me invite to the stage Mr. Jagadish Gattu, the founder and the CEO of UptimeAI. And I want to invite also Mr. Mohammed Shamsi, the VP Field of Operations for ADNOC Offshore. And Mr. Paul Cast, the past chair for the SMRP. And Rohan, the director and projects and delivery for the AsInt Inc.
Give a quick brief about your background first to the attendees so they can have more insights about what you're doing and what's your background. Yeah, so we'll start with Mr. Jagadish.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Ahmed. Great to be here and speaking to the team here. I'm Gattu. I'm the founder and CEO for UptimeAI. My background is I've spent about 10 years doing hands-on industrial data analytics, all the way from automotive to pharma, defense, oil and gas, and other industries. Post that, I also spent about 8-9 years at GE Oil and Gas and Baker Hughes, managing product lines in smart instrumentation as well as their AI solutions. Post that, started UptimeAI around 6 years ago, and today we focus on improving profitability of asset-heavy and process industries through usage of AI-based reasoning agents. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mohammed Shamsi.
Yes, thank you, Mohammed Shamsi. I'm the VP Operations at ADNOC Offshore. ADNOC Offshore is one of ADNOC Group's subsidiary operating companies working in the Gulf region. And majority of my career is in operations and project management, around the 20 years in this business.
Thank you. And yeah, let's take it by. So Rohan, Mr. Rohan.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Rohan Patel. I'm the founder and CEO for AsInt, and I'm based out of Houston. Thank you very much for organizing this event. Is connect and figure out what everybody in the different part of the world are doing. Really interesting discussion so far. My experience is around working in industry for around 20 plus years. Started out as working on standards like APIs and everything else, and eventually started building solution right around 2019 through now. We have a lot of solution. We do have a booth over here as well. So if you wanted to know more, we can explain around how we are actually doing our solution.
And we have Paul.
Hello, everyone. I'm Paul Casto. I am a APM industry principal with GE Vernova, but I'm also the past chair and senior SMRP. My background really is in the field, doing a lot of reliability engineering, reliability management, and then moving to applications in the field. I do a lot of work around AI applications, helping folks figure out how to create value. It's my pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So let's start our panel today. who is the title of AI and Automation, Human Intelligence in Predictive Maintenance. As we know that the AI and the automation are everywhere in predictive maintenance today, everywhere. But the real question is when they are actually making a difference. So here today with our guests and our experts, we will learn and we will discuss together how we can make a difference with the AI and the automation and the human intelligence. So this panel is about moving beyond the dashboards and the pilot projects to see what's the real challenges we are currently facing in the market and how we can overcome them and how we can make a decision-making can be realistically be automated in the future. So my first question to Mr. Jack, you have worked closely with large industrial operators. Where have you seen AI actually change maintenance decisions on the ground, not just improve reports? So where have you seen this AI actually changing maintenance decisions?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks, Ahmed. I think it's extremely important to make the solutions or the technology practical for the application and the day-to-day work. We've seen many examples in many cases, and when the end user, the reliability engineer, or the operations team actually sees a real change in the way they work, that's when you get that option. I'll give you a couple of examples. We had a case where we went to a plant, and they told us about a problem on their steam turbine. They were actually seeing increase in vibration, they were seeing increase in axial displacement, and they were sending maintenance teams to first of all, they wanted to see whether the sensors are good or not. I think we've always seen this case where any problem, first thing they say is check the instrumentation. So they checked that, they didn't find anything wrong. And then they were trying to understand why the vibration and the axial displacement was increasing. That's when we came in and we were able to show or use the technology or the solution to then show them the problem for why the vibration was increasing was not really in the bearings. It was actually the DM water plant. And that was very surprising for them because what the technology or what the AI found was that the reason why the vibration was increasing is because there was fouling on the turbine blades, which was pushing the equipment to work harder, which is why the vibration levels are increasing. And where is that fouling happening? It's happening because there was silica content in the steam, which is coming in from their DM water plant. And so they changed from the perspective of looking at the bearings, looking at essentially the displacement, and going back to the root cause of the problem, which is essentially fixing the DM water plant, and thereby not having the vibration in the first place at all. So this is one example. There are many examples. I'll give you one more example, which is around, there was a failure or a shutdown at one of the gas plants, and the team was trying to understand why that happened. And the AI was able to help them understand the reason for why this was happening is because of a bad maintenance strategy. And so the AI told them that they need to increase the maintenance, the PM schedule for that equipment to prevent such failures in the future. So again, from the maintenance standpoint, they were able to actually increase the maintenance, and change the PM schedule for that equipment because the AI told them that why this doesn't make sense. And so these are some practical examples in terms of either understanding root cause or being able to change your maintenance, strategy or maintenance, schedules because of using AI.
Thank you very much. So I believe that knowing more about your assets and getting more information will help you to even to adapt the future of your AI and yeah.
I think the key here is that you're not just trying to understand the problem. I mean, we have many, many tools and ways of identifying the problems, right? The key is, why does AI offer you more value? It offers more value because you can understand the underlying reason, underlying causes, and you can actually solve problems faster and with better outcomes than, just identifying problems in dashboards and alerts.
Exactly, yes. Yeah, thank you very much. So the second question go to Mr. Mohammed Al-Shamsi. So from the operation point of view, what has the AI and predictive maintenance really change how your teams work day to day?
Right, so I think it was really well articulated at the very end, mentioning about decision making and how our teams actually have more data, or let's say assisted decision making by the AI, to try and make more informed decisions related to understanding their process and the underlying issues that happens. And I think it all, as a start, AI is in infancy now. We consider it's just starting. So a lot of the impact right now is rooted in efficiency of the processes and the activities that we carry out. I think a very well example was already said. And we have, of course, many examples in our industry. One of them that I recall is, for example, in projects. We have mega projects where we have a lot of data that needs to be formulated, generated in terms of PM management, assets registration, tag specifications, and so on. So one of recent AI-assisted activity was we have around a project where we had around 18,000 tags. All of these tags, of course, needs to be registered. The PM check sheets and checklists need to be created. So this activity usually needed experts that well-versed in the discipline, right? Instruments, control, or electrical, or mechanical. So using AI that is trained on existing data and existing check sheets and activity lists, we were able to generate for all of these tags within a week, which used to take months. And I think efficiency is a major player or principle that AI is assisting us in the front line. And of course, this grows into assisted decision making, and of course, eventually also making decisions on behalf of the front line.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, so the next question will go to Mr. Rohan. So when rolling out an AI and automation projects, what typically causes delays or failures?
A lot of things can go wrong,
Yeah.
right, around that. But generally, most of the client, we're fortunate enough to work with a lot of customers that actually implementing around AIs and everything else. So our advice starts to them is start with the foundation, have a good foundation around your data, where your data is guiding you. You have a lot of history. That's the second part, because you have a lot of history for the last 20 years, 30 years, or 50 years, because you have those history available to you. So now within the foundation, now let's match up all those data foundation with your mechanism, right? So if you are running big refineries, or if you're running big the corporation, then you have a lot of mechanism goes along with those as well. So we try to advise them to say, make sure your foundation is right. Even if you're a small organization, the advice not gonna change. Advice is the same advice, because eventually, if you don't have the foundation correct, then the AI is gonna, generally AI project, I don't believe fails. It's just the process and how you define it and the goal you set. Those are the one fails, right? So if you go with the right foundation and the right information begin with, I think it really gets succeed at the one point.
Thank you. Yeah, please.
Put together. But one thing to also keep in mind is AI can also help you clean up your data, right? And so, at some point, everyone has to start cleaning up the data, because we know in the industry, who thinks that your maintenance data is better than, more than 50% accurate? I don't think anyone thinks that, that's the case. So I think AI, you can also start using AI to build that foundation and clean up the data, which again, to Mohammed's point, it can do it very quickly compared to weeks and months of effort, which you would have to do otherwise.
I'll add. So we started out training one of the model for damage mechanism, for example, a couple of years ago. API, American Petrochemical Institute, has like a standard called 571. So 571 define all 68 damage mechanisms that could potentially happen in refinery. So what we started out as a foundation saying, we have this 200,000 images of all the different corrosion that actually happening. Can we combine those corrosion and everything else and train the model to predict that and to provide proper answer to us based on the temperature condition, all other things around it, right? So as we see a lot of hallucination as well within the AI when we trying to do that, because eventually it's going to do that, but then up to you how you correct it and train the model correctly. But eventually we figure it out. So if you see in our application now, we just had a mobile application. You go on a plan, you can potentially scan the image, and it will tell you right away that, hey, this based on all this information, this criteria, these are the things. So we're trying to as a software vendor, what we focus on we don't want it to say we wanted to create another AI product. We're saying we're going to infuse AI with every single product we have. So that's my general guidance to our team internally. So we have around 30 plus application. Each application, from reliability side to safety to mechanical integrity, we generally try to do that. That's the advice we give out to our client as well.
Very good. So how you find this affecting the data qualities? It's affecting it in a...
Data quality is everything, right? Like, because now you're trying to solve the problem on one side, on asset performance management side of things. Well, that's a strategy. What about your inner lying enterprise data where you have your ERP, like in cases of SAP, or somebody has Maximo or somebody has something else? Your master data is not matching up with APM. If you go and find and talk with most of the customer, they will tell you right away that we don't have our data matching up. So I can do good strategy on one side, I can run great AI on one side, but if I'm trying to do some notification and work order directly from that end-to-end foundation will just not work, right? So we're trying to solve both problem for the client, just on an APM side of things and ERP side of things, and we're literally trying to merge those together. So once you have that foundation ready, then your master data is correct, and it's the same master data on both, and then you can run all the strategy. So your CapEx and OpEx can now finally meet together, and you can make a better decision as a company.
Yeah. Thank you. So Paul, from your experience, how is the definition of reliability excellence changing with the AI and automation in the picture?
Well, interesting question. After all, we are at a reliability conference, right? So reliability excellence is sort of a two-part answer. So let me talk about the reliability part of reliability excellence. Maybe 15 years ago, it became clear to me that the real winners eventually were going to be people who could take all this data that we have out there, a plethora of data. I used to say we're drowning in a sea of data. Who can take all that data and make sense of that data and then put it into a format that's usable, that we could consume and create value with. Well, we struggled over a bunch of those years, but just in the last few years, we've made significant progress. Now, AI is not going to replace reliability engineering. What AI really is an amplifier to that. It allows us to be much more efficient. It allows us to solve problems much faster. It allows us to be more efficient as we go forward. So as we think about reliability engineering, it doesn't replace the fundamentals that we need to be good reliability engineers. It does help us solve problems much more efficiently. It does help us think about solutions to those problems much more efficiently than we would have in the past. So from a productivity standpoint, the reliability is going to, our ability to do reliability engineering is going to increase. And as we want to become a high reliability organization, what we're really looking for are those leading indicators of degradation mechanisms, those leading indicators of failure modes early in the degradation process, so that maybe we could go fix the problem before the equipment is seriously damaged. So that's sort of the first part of reliability excellence. The second part of that is what we often forget about is maintenance excellence. It doesn't do us any good to have the best reliability strategy in the world if we don't implement that strategy as per the plan. It doesn't do us any good to have a great asset health program which gives us leading indicators of failures early in the degradation process if our maintenance work processes aren't set up to address that, to address those early indicators which traditionally are probably low priority in the way we do maintenance. So you know, it's affecting us in a couple of ways. Over in the maintenance area, AI is impacting how we do planning. It's impacting how we do spares. It's impacting how we manage our strategies. So those things come together for reliability excellence, and AI, while it's allowing us to scale things that we're doing, isn't going to replace reliability engineering fundamentals in the long run.
Yeah, thank you. So my next question to Jag. As you know that many companies start the AI pilots, and then after that, sometimes they struggle to scale it. Yeah, so so in your experience, what's the main points which they made them struggling to scale the pilots which they are? And many customers I've seen, they're already trying a lot of new solutions and so on. So what's the main obstacles in your experience,
That's a great question, and it's a question that keeps coming up, you know, in every conversation. And I also referred to the statistic yesterday that only 5% of the companies are able to scale AI at an enterprise level, and there's a reason why it's been challenging. I'll talk about three things, you know, maybe three key problem areas that I see in my experience. The first one is essentially vision. You know, as an organization, we have to understand how does AI impact, and do we want to have that impact? And I think the answer is yes. I mean, you know, AI is one of those technologies that is going to transform the way we do the work, and anyone who doesn't actually, you know, move with that technology will be left behind, because the change and the impact is significant. But the key is, as an organization, the leadership and the entire and the management need to see what does AI give us, how can we solve problems that were unsolvable in the past, along with efficiency, and you have to commit to that. You know, and the reason why I say that is because if you want to build a 100-story building, you want to make sure that you know that you are starting to, with a vision to build a 100-story building. If not, you will make choices which are not the right choices. So one, the management buy-in and the vision has to be there. The second area I would say is planning. And when you're planning, you have to make your choices such that it will allow you to build that AI to the AI vision. Also, you know, as an example, if you're building the 100-story building, you can't start with a concrete foundation or a concrete material for building that, because it's not going to survive. I mean, you have to start with a composite or a steel framing, right? Similarly, when you are looking at planning to build the AI-based, you know, operations, then the solutions that you are choosing have to be chosen in a way that they can actually scale, right? And oftentimes, what we find is people make a choice thinking that, you know, AI is an incremental change that I can just fix it, you know, as we go. And it's not always the case. Same way that, you know, you build 2 stories with concrete and then you say, okay, I want to build 98 floors on top of it. You can't use the same foundation. So it's better to understand how your initial pilot itself, when you're planning it, will allow you to scale. And I think, you know, you have to find cases where the scale up has been successful and make sure that that's validated in the market. So choose the right size and scope for the pilot and plan it accordingly. The third piece is execution. And in execution, a lot of times, you know, what we see is that there's so much focus on technology and business case, which are generally very high level. And then when it comes to execution, who are the people who are actually using it? I mean, they are generally the end users. So a lot of times, you know, companies get overwhelmed with the technology and the jargon of, you know, LLMs and deep learning models and, you know, accuracies and precision and all of that. But all of this doesn't matter if the end user and the engineer in the field doesn't know or sees that it's not going to help him or her, or it's actually, you know, very difficult to maintain, right? If I'm the reliability engineer, I'm the maintenance engineer, do I care like what is the, whether the model, who built the model, etc.? I mean, I don't care. As long as it is giving me insights, I will use it, right? And so I think the focus on usability, user interface, and how the adoption can be built up, right? That's the third part. So I'll just say that management buy-in on the vision, right? And leadership agreement on the vision as to where they want to go. When you plan, you want to make sure that you size the pilot and the scope in a way that is designed to scale, not very small experiments, not big bang, right? And the third piece is from an execution standpoint, you want to make sure that it's designed for the end user in mind. It's designed with domain expertise, domain context in mind. Otherwise, people are not going to adopt it.
Thank you very much. So the next question for Mohammed Al-Shamsi about if you look 5 or 10 years ahead, how much decision making do you realistically see being handed over to the intelligence systems? I'm talking about 5 to 10 years ahead.
It's quite an interesting question.
Yeah.
And I think, to be honest with you, a lot of the debate that goes around AI is its ability, of course, to replace human decision making. And a lot of the debates also revolve around the principles by which this decision making is made. So is it oriented toward ethical, moral decisions? Does it have the correct reasoning when the decision is made? Of course, a lot of discussions we hear throughout the 2 days is the data, right? And how it's formulated and how the decision is made based on that data. However, for AI, again, in relation to the question, there are different fields that AI would excel in the decision making, even independently. So if we go very foundational, when we talk about, for example, our industry in process control. So we have the legacy process control systems, and now we also are trying to adopt the AI-enabled process control, right? So this is a very, very simple decision-making loop. AI, through reading the data, technical data, is able to make most of the time good decisions in terms of control of systems, right? But I've read recent research, for example, in different sectors. When we go to for example, the criminal and civil sector. So research has shown, for example, some examples and tests that were conducted. They've given AI systems to judges. So these AI systems look at criminal records, cases, previous cases, and so on. And it turns out that more than 30, 40% of the cases, the judge does not follow the recommendation of AI systems. So it gives you an indication that human insight and human judgment is still relevant, depending on the sector you're in. Maybe in our industry, it's much different. We're technical, very objective and very rigid, but other systems are not. For example, even I recall in the healthcare industry also, it was shown that it's more effective when it's making diagnostic on certain, let's say, illnesses. And the reason, again, comes back to its ability to read a lot of data and able to, make decisions in a shorter period of time, make diagnostic in a shorter period of time, and also pick up on things that maybe would be missed through human oversight. Saying that, however, I think we will get there. Whether it's 5 or 10 years, we will come to see with time. And is it going to completely replace human intervention? I do not think it's probable. We will always require oversight, and we will always require validation until we have, I think, absolute confidence that we can hand over our lives to AI eventually. So that's what I think.
We can say it like we work with the AI, not against the AI. We work with the we use it as a tool. We are not just use it as against us. So it will not, and it will never take the place of the decision, the final decision, maybe in many cases. And the intelligence in this part is how do you think in a smart way to use it to take the right decision. So, and yeah, use it as a tool to take the right decision.
Absolutely, and just to add to that also the strategic insight, which also still we have to see how we can build AI models to actually incorporate strategic insight. So when we're talking about board level and executive level decision making. So this is an important aspect, and I think, yeah, if those are resolved with time, then it is an amplifier, as Paul was saying, to our decision making. However, the human element, I believe, will continue to remain there. And one last thing is we also need to be careful about losing the technical expertise. So with time, we should always ensure that we have our backup redundancy, which is the human factor, right? So you do not want to give all of that knowledge and then you lose it with time. So the mechanism for us to retain that knowledge is also important in case your systems go offline. So who's going to make that initial analysis, right? So that's a critical aspect also.
Thank you very much. So Rohan, from your the past projects you have delivered already, where have clients seen the fastest and the most tangible benefits?
Actually, as we started out several implementation 2-3 years ago, the fastest one we seen it is around, especially around the mechanical integrity side of things. So when we talk about CML, so CML optimization. So if I'm doing 10,000, 13,000 CML in certain ways, or 20 on certain area. So where we saw really impact is when we started working on a tool and actually rolling it out to the site level. We saw a lot of advancement coming out of those as well. The other one we saw on a risk priorities, right? So you have a lot of priorities within when you're running operation. So where you can advance those and get that. So risk priority is another one. We've seen a lot of important ones comes out. The other one we saw is in the workflow. So the process that you're adapting, right? If you are a multi-tier organization, you have several sites. Each site does work differently because there are people that are doing certain stuff differently. So as you harmonize the process and define those workflow, we think AI in those cases worked out really, really well for the organization. The main one we saw around is the cost, right? Like, so if you can somehow figure out the cost benefit, that's eventually help out your ROI. So that's where we think that AI is headed in helping out the cost. I firmly don't believe AI is going to replace the human. That's personal belief on my, and it should not be, right? We wanted to have a supervise over the top on that one to make sure, but I think we have to be very careful because it's getting out of, Mohammed's point is correct. Like we have to make sure we are prompting correctly. We need to make sure we are feeding the information correctly because eventually it's gonna start hallucinating and give out the wrong answer, right? And it only takes one incident to actually shut down the operation, right? So we have to be careful around it as well. Generally, these are the advancement. We need to see it as how do we help our people's life easier day to day at the site level? How do we make it easier for them to learn the new technology and also adapt the technology and implement the new technology at the site? So those are our mission as a company that we're trying to help out the customer. A lot of education around it on AI side of things, but that's where we see very successful implementation from our side.
Yeah, thank you. So the next question to Paul, and it's related to the reliability cultures. So do you think that the organizations adopting the technology faster than they are building the right culture? So is it faster?
Well, reliability culture is an interesting question. We have a problem with reliability culture today, and AI is not impacting that. That's a problem that I've seen for many years. Our ability to build a reliability culture and then to sustain that reliability culture over years is difficult. I've seen a number of companies become very reliability focused and develop a culture of reliability only to see that fade as they have management changes, as business changes, then that culture really fades away. Now, technology's moving fast, right? The world's moving fast today, and it'll never move slower than it's moving today, right? And so companies have to be careful. There is no magic wand. So we may look and say, oh, here comes all these new technologies, here comes artificial intelligence, you know, maybe I can use this to solve my culture problems. So people are adopting these new technologies, but without the foundational reliability culture to support all these new answers and technologies, I think we're going to continue to struggle in the future. So as we think about the foundation of our organizations, I came from an organization where reliability permeated everything. It permeated operations. It permeated maintenance. It was, you know, our own reliability department. So what we need to do is use AI. You know, AI is, you know, we've got software that's using software to help us solve problems. And as I said earlier, that will allow us to scale reliability and reliability excellence a lot easier and faster across our organizations. We need to have those fundamental principles, and we need to think about how do we, especially outside of our reliability organizations, how do we get other people trained and get them thinking about reliability? How do we build this reliability culture? I think AI can help us, but it's not a magic wand, you know. So we solve problems, but if we don't do things in the field correctly to implement those solutions, we're going to continue to struggle.
Thank you very much. So I'll keep the floor open now for the attendees. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. So we have like 10 minutes. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you.